Thomas's new freight cars. All the engines were working very hard. They were collecting lots of freight cars. They were doing their jobs on time. One day, Thomas was shunting some slate cars. He was very tired because he had to deliver his slate cars. Just then, Henry puffed in with his new freight cars. "Hello, Thomas," said Henry. "I'm collecting my new freight cars." "They're really nice," said Thomas. "I wish I could collect some." "Don't worry, I'm sure you will," said Henry. "I hope so," said Thomas. And later, Thomas was at Tisbett's shed. When he puffed out of the shed, Sir Topham Hatt told him the great news. "You are to have brand new freight cars." "Thank you, sir," said Thomas. And Thomas puffed away to find his new trucks. He was very excited to collect them. When he arrived, he saw his new trucks. His new trucks looked really nice and colorful. "These new trucks are really nice," said Thomas. "I'm going to collect them." And Thomas buffered up to his new trucks, and he puffed off to the docks. But the troublesome trucks were being really naughty. "Ha ha 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 ha! Hold back," they puffed. "Oh, come on," said Thomas. "Just come on." All right," said the freight cars. And they hurried off. When Thomas arrived at Brendam Docks, he saw Henry again. Henry had his new freight cars with him. "Your freight cars look really nice," said Thomas. "I know they do," said Henry. "Your freight cars are much better than mine." "That may be," said Thomas. "But you'll see, I'm collecting some brand new ones, so are you." And Thomas puffed out of the docks. And soon, Henry was at the quarry. Henry waited. When Thomas puffed into the quarry, he loaded his trucks under the hopper. And the trucks, they rolled a little bit more. They rolled and rolled under the hopper. Then they rolled too far again. Thomas was very dirty. "You should be careful," said Henry. "You don't like getting dirty, neither do I." "I know," said Thomas, "but I'm going to have a wash down." "I'm going to be having a wash down first," said Henry. "Oh, you'll see," said Thomas. And Thomas puffed away with his new freight cars. As Thomas was on his way with his new freight cars to the washdown, he was very cross. He didn't like causing confusion and delay, but he wanted to get the freight cars delivered on time. When Thomas arrived at the washdown, he saw Henry was already there, having the washdown. "See," said Henry, "I told you I would get to the washdown first." Thomas was very cross. He didn't like waiting his turn. "Oh, bother," said Thomas. "I'm just going to deliver these cars anyway and not get clean." So Thomas puffed away. And Thomas puffed into When Thomas puffed into the truck yard, he saw his old trucks were still in the truck yard, in the goods yard. Thomas saw his old cars and his new cars. Those are brand new cars over there that look just like my new ones that I had a few minutes ago. But if I collect my old cars, and if I collect my old cars with coal, then I can keep my new cars good and clean, and I can deliver my old cars with coal and keep my new cars clean," said Thomas. And Thomas went to his old cars. He buffered up to his old troublesome trucks. He was coupled up, and he puffed away. They were loaded up with coal, and Thomas got very dirty. Thomas puffed through the countryside as fast as he could. "I can get the coal real messy," said Thomas. "I can get the cars real messy," said Thomas, "and get the coal to the docks on time." Then there was trouble. The coupling snapped. Thomas's trucks were rolling by themselves. "Cinders and ashes," cried Thomas. Thomas puffed. He chuffed as fast as he could, but then he applied his brakes. He stopped too quickly. The troublesome truck biffed into the back of Thomas. Thomas was stuck, and he was really covered in coal. Thomas's driver went for help. Sir Topham Hatt was in his office when he heard the news. "I'll send Harvey and the breakdown train right away," said Sir Topham Hatt. Soon, Harvey was on his way. Harvey was on his way to clear the mess. When Harvey arrived to take the freight cars, he felt sorry for Thomas. "I'm sorry to hear that you're stuck, Thomas, and you're dirty, but I'll get these coal and I'll get the cars back on the tracks." "It's okay," said Thomas. "I'll go collect my new cars. Then when I come back with my new cars, will you put the coal in my new trucks?" "Of course I will," said Harvey. So the workmen cleared Thomas's path, and Thomas puffed away. He puffed away to collect his new cars. Thomas buffered up to his new cars, and he puffed away. When Thomas arrived with his new cars, Harvey and the workmen loaded all the coal back into the new cars. Soon, Thomas's new cars were filled up, and Thomas was ready to go. Thomas puffed away with his new truck as fast as he could. Thomas puffed and puffed on his way to Brendam Docks. As he was on his way to Brendam Docks, the truck sang and giggled all the way to the docks. Soon, at last, Thomas arrived at Brendam Docks. When Thomas arrived at Brendam Docks, Henry was at Brendam Docks. "Your cars look really nice," said Henry. "They sure do," said Thomas. "They look just like the ones you saw before." Henry tried to pull away, but his freight cars didn't want to be clean anymore. Hold back, they cried. Henry pulled harder and harder and harder. But then, Cranky's cable broke. He dropped a big box of chocolate. Chocolate went all over Henry. The cars laughed and laughed. Henry was really cross. "See," said Thomas, "I told you, trucks are really silly." And Thomas and Henry and the trucks laughed.